right, shalom, shalom. I'd like to start off first and foremost by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachadash. Double honor to the elders and apostles on Great Millstone who rule and teach well. Peace, love, salutations, and blessings to those that are doing this work in truth and sincerity. This is your brother Nathan Yala, coming back after the Spirit with another lesson, and I pray I hope this lesson is edifying. Now, I'm just going to get right to it, because the most dangerous man on earth is the so-called white man, the pale male. Okay? He is the most dangerous man on the planet Earth, if you can call him a man. All right? You can just you got the Steam files, the wars, and everything that he does. But I have a couple of videos in particular that really made me want to do this lesson on this. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and read this. I'm gonna probably read it a couple times because it's the crux of the lesson. But I'm gonna start at Wisdom of Solomon, 12th chapter, and the 3rd verse. And it says, "For it was thy will to destroy by the hands of our fathers both those old inhabitants of the Holy Land, whom thou hatest for doing the most odious works of witchcraft and wicked sacrifices." Now let's look up this word odious, okay? It says odious describes someone or something that is extremely unpleasant, repulsive, deserving of hatred. Synonyms include hateful, detestable, abominable, loathsome, while antonyms include lovable and attractive. But we're not talking about the antonyms, okay? But this is these are egregious acts, something that is extremely unpleasant or repulsive, deserving of hatred. All right? So now we know what that word means when we read that. So let's read verse 4 again. It says, "Whom thou hatest for doing the most odious works of witchcraft and wicked sacrifices, and also those merciless murders of children and devourers of man's flesh and the feast of blood." Okay, so we see, when the Steam files came out, we seen exactly what they were doing, practicing in adrenochrome, which is the drinking of blood, okay, and the sacrificing of children and the eating of man's flesh. Now, most of us have seen the videos, right? Now, I have this video here. I have 2 videos that I'm gonna play, which are very disturbing but revealing, like we didn't notice already. But I'm gonna play this one first because this one really shows you why, as he says it in the video, there's not an uproar of the Steam files. So without further ado, let's let this one play.
Every one of those red dot maps is a unique IP address that is downloaded, shared, or distributing child rape images, almost all under the age of 12. And that's just a 6-month screenshot of it. And there are over 338,000 on there. There's blue dots on there. You can't really see them, but the blue ones are the ones that are under investigation. In a sea of red. Isn't that a problem of what we're talking about?
And that is why the American people will never rise against their leaders in anger over the Epstein files. Because of that crowd of white men that you're expecting, right-wing white men with guns, that's the crowd everybody's thinking about when you think taking shit over. It's the violent right-wing conservative man. If you see a crowd of 100, 60 of them have child porn in their computers at home. So how do you expect them to rise in anger and push this when they're doing the exact same thing? When they have this little fear that if they force anything on this Epstein issue, it will make Americans double down and put so much money into law enforcement to go after pedophiles, and it'll eventually get to them. That's why they're not doing anything about it, because a vast majority of white American men fuck little children, are into child porn, and they're pedophiles. All right. Look at the FBI statistics.
And that's exactly true. The most dangerous male on the earth are people that look like him, pale males. Okay? They're the most dangerous men on earth. They're the ones that come at you with the smiling faces. Like, we watched the video, and there was a little boy, which was a pale male, but he was just standing by himself in the airport. I would play the video, but it's really graphic, so I'm not gonna play it. And the little boy was left seemingly by himself. Someone stepped away from him. And a strange man just walked up to him and body slammed the boy and probably killed him out of nowhere. And it was just another Edomite, you know? So these people are wicked. They're desperately wicked. Now you see this map down here, right? This map is a map of all of the places in America where child rape, well, you know, I don't like keeping it PG. Child rape and pornography was distributed and downloaded. Okay, and it's not just the men. The men are primarily the primary facilitators of this. However, the women do it too. The women do it too. There's plenty of videos where you have the so-called white woman that's been arrested for raping a young male, but you know it doesn't seem that way when they do it on that end, or breaking the bones of a child in a hospital. Okay, putting children to death, putting males to death. So it's all of them. Okay, let's read his wisdom of Solomon again. Start at verse 3. It says, "For it was thy will to destroy by the hands of our fathers both the old inhabitants of the Holy Land," which we're talking about, the land of the Chaldees, you know, those ones that were doing the ritualistic sacrifices back in that time, sacrificing their children to Moloch and Baal. Okay, those people needed. That's why the Lord said that sent Israel to put all those people to death. That's why I said that the iniquity. Let me just see if I can find it real quick. Give me 1 sec. I'm gonna come back to this, but give me 1 second. Oh, yes, there it is. All right, so it's the book of Genesis. We're gonna go to the book of Genesis. Keep it there. This is the book of Genesis 15 to 16. And it says, "But in the fourth generation they shall come hither, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not full." So the Lord was waiting on their sins to reach up to the heavens, just like now. Okay? Because these people were sacrificing their children and doing all type of ritualistic sacrifices to Baal and Moloch. Okay? So going back to this wisdom of Solomon, verse 3 again, it says, "For it was thy will to destroy the hands of our fathers, both the old and inhabitants of the Holy Land, whom thou hatest for doing the most odious works." Now we looked at that word odious, which means crazy wicked. Okay? Of witchcraft and wicked sacrifices, and those who merciless murders of children and devourers of man's flesh, and the feast of blood. All right? These people are desperately wicked, and that's who we're dealing with to this day, just times 10 in Esau Edom. This guy is way worse than they were back then. Way worse. Okay? So let's play this next video.
A community. You imagine a community so ate up with racism that they would install a rapist a pedophile, a liar, a malignant narcissist, the most evil human being, most corrupt, deceitful person to ever walk the earth. They're so racist, so ate up with the love of white supremacy that they would install this dirty, vile human being to lead them because they love white supremacy so much. And now, because of it, they're on a self-destructive path. That's your fucking legacy, white America. We are, because of you, the lowest of the low. White people have no credibility anymore. We are fucking idiots. We are trashy ass losers because of what we have done to our nation out of goddamn greed, racism, and ignorance and corruption.
Well, y'all always been like that, okay? Y'all always been like that. The Lord He just lifted you up, okay? The Lord can lift up the bases of men, and that's what it says, I believe, in Daniel, the 7th chapter. 7th or 8th chapter, I'm not sure, but I'll get it. Let me get this first. The book of Job. Yeah. Job 31, it says, "But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I will have disdain to have set with the flock, with the dogs of my flock." Because think about that. Who bestiality is illegal. I mean, illegal in every state except one, I believe. Or is that cannibalism? I think cannibalism is legal in every state, but bestiality is legal. Let me just look it up real quick. Uh, oops. Yeah, here it is. I know I don't spell. I'm a bad speller, but hey, you know what it got? It says as of early 2006, West Virginia is the only remaining state that does not have specific state level law banning bestiality. So when Job said, "But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers that I will have disdain have set with the flocks, with the dogs of my flocks," because they'll bang your dogs, they'll bang your animals, they'll play with your animals in ways that they shouldn't. And when it says younger, it doesn't mean literal younger. It means it's kind of like, a know nothing. Like what's up, son? You know, you youngin. Basically something like that. Not literal, age. It says, "Yea, whereto might the strength of their hands profit me, in whom old age was perished. For want and famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness in former time, desolate and waste. The European wild man, who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat. They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as a thief." Okay, they were driven forth from among men. So they were the basis of men. Among the bushels they braved, upon the nettles they were gathered together. They were children of fools, yea, children of base men. They were viler than the earth. When you go to this word, base men, we know it means low, but let's go to Daniel. Let's see. No, it's like it. I know it was in Daniel somewhere. So we go to Daniel 4 and 17. And it says, "This is the matter decreed by the watchers and the demand of the word of the holy ones to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men and giveth it to whosoever he will and set it up over it the bases of men." All right. Now let's go back to that video.
Trump is no more narcissistic than the white community. The white community is socially and racially bankrupt. We don't give a fuck about our brothers and sisters, and we never have. Why? Because we're ate up with fucking racism. And that's why we're in this fucking mess. So congrats, white America. Congrats to fucking yourself in the ass. Hard, as they say, without any lubrication. You ignorant motherfuckers. This is your legacy, white America. You will be remembered as a horrific community, so self-absorbed that they would install the most corrupt human being to ever walk the fucking earth simply because they loved racism. What a fucking legacy you left for us. You
Hold on.
imagine a community.
Okay. So there it is. Right? And that was your legacy. That's your legacy. Let's go to Habakkuk. Okay? Let's go to Habakkuk 2 and 16. And it says, "Thou art filled with shame for glory." You heard him. This is his legacy. The murdering of children, the collapsing of economies, endless wars. Okay? And we got proof. We've shown you that this man he's looking at, and years ago I used to say it all the time. Everybody thought that I was crazy. But I used to say, why is it that all of the women that they use for advertisements on these billboards are depicted as little girls? Why are they dressing them up as little girls? Because we live in a world of pedophiles, man. Why is it that they do these little pageant shows and dress these little girls up as grown-ass provocative women like John Benet Ramsey and all that? Why do they do that? Because these fucking devils are pedophiles, man. You know, and the thing about wickedness is they like to do reflection. I forgot what you call it, but when they accuse you of what they're doing. That's what these devils do. Okay? Conspiracy theories and all this shit. But now it's come out, yes. This is what they do. This is what they've been doing. Targeting little children. Pleasure Island. Off of that, I think it was Pinocchio. This is the man that's in charge. This is the ruler of the world. So you think he's going to condemn himself? Because most of these so-called white men out here, there was a video that I saw where it was this black woman, right? She said she was a pastor. She went to the pastor of her church's house. They were having a barbecue, right? And she asked her wife, she said, "Hey, could I use your restroom?" And she said, "Yeah, it's down the hall, blah, 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 blah." The black girl go in the house. She go to the hall, down the hall, like she say. She opened the door of the bathroom. And the man of the house is the pastor is banging his son's back out in the bathroom. His son in the bathroom. And she said she just turned around and left. But this is what these people do. I remember I was working at this place years ago, this restaurant, and this one white dude, he used to walk. It just came to mind. He used to run around saying this shit right here, and it didn't click on what he was actually saying. He was saying, "Spit on it, paw, you're ripping it." It's what he used to walk around the restaurant and say, "Spit on it, paw, you're ripping it." Like, what the hell are you talking? This is the legacy of Esau Edom. Habakkuk 2 and 16 again. "Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory." you see everything that this man is doing has been coming out, and there's nothing he can do to stop it. Try to start a war, it's still coming out. Okay, normally the war buries stuff, but it ain't burying nothing this time. As a matter of fact, more stuff is coming out because the Lord has uncovered your secret places and you can't hide yourself anymore. So we're going to go back to this Wisdom of Solomon. It wasn't meant to be a long video, just a quick hit. And I'm going to read this again. This is Wisdom of Solomon 12:3. It says, "For it was thy will to destroy by the hands of our fathers both those old inhabitants of the Holy Land." Man, this is crazy. Every time you read it, you're like, dang, these people are actually doing this. Verse 4, "Whom thou hatest for doing the most odious works of witchcraft and wicked sacrifices, and also those merciless murders of children and devourers of man's flesh, and the feast of blood." Okay? As a matter of fact, I had another precept that I wanted to get out. All right, let me get that real quick, and I'm going to close out on this one. Zechariah 11:5. Zechariah 11:5, and it says, "Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty." They don't prosecute themselves. They don't hold themselves guilty for the crimes that they commit. Okay? It says, "Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty, and they that sell them say, Blessed be the Lord, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not." Okay? And that's the MO of the so-called white man. He think he blessed because he's getting away with the things that he's getting away with. But the Lord said, because he kept silent, you must have thought that he was one such as thyself. Okay? But he will reprove you and set them in order right before your eyes. And that's exactly what's happening with us. Okay? You so-called devils, you so-called white people, you devils, y'all going into slavery, and the Lord is going to recompense you for all of the wickedness that you've done on this earth. This devil is the most predatory and wicked creature on the planet. Okay? There's nothing more worse than him. Even the animals, the dogs, the flies, he experiment on insects. Nothing is safe with this man. Okay? Like it says in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. You know what? I know I keep saying I'm going to close, but we can just go ahead and grab that and I'll close on that. It's Habakkuk 2:4, and it says, "Yea, also because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man, and his wine means his philosophies." Okay? "He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell." Okay, everywhere he goes, he turns into a hellish condition. "And is as death." He brings death, disease, famine with him, and cannot be satisfied, but gather unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all peoples. He wants to control everybody in the world. And that's what the MOTB is going to be about, because he wants to have control over everything, including what goes on inside of you. All right? And not to mention, that's a way for him to try to usurp the birthright back from Jake, which is not going to happen. Okay? So with that, I pray it's an edifying lesson. I'm going to end it off again. All praise going out to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Bashem Rakar Kodesh. Until next time, I can say Shalom.